Back in the spring, we started to build a skills park in our backyard. It's been a few months since I posted a video about this, and I haven't worked on it since then. So in case you're new here, or if you just forgot because it's been so long, the plan was to have 3 individual lines branching off of one starting point. While we do have a couple teeter-totters left over from the build we did last year, we've really only gotten through one new line this year. Those teeter-totters will eventually become more permanently incorporated into the skills park, but for today, we're going to build something completely new. I started by adding a split for 2 new lines at the beginning of the course. I added 1 plank the full width of the platform to help tie these 2 new lines into place. We're only building off of the middle line today, but we had to get started on the outside line to make sure we had everything spaced out properly. I cut these planks to gradually get wider as the line goes on, because this will lead up to the biggest feature that we've built in the yard so far. After roughly eyeballing how tall I thought this feature should be, I initially decided to make the support poles just under 4 feet tall. This would put the peak of the feature just about 4.5 feet off the ground. I had the support poles spaced out about 3 feet wide, which I thought would provide good support given how tall this feature would be. When the frame was laying flat on the ground, it seemed like it was going to be the perfect dimension for what I was going for. But once I stood this thing up, it just seemed way too big for how small of a space we're putting this thing in. Even though the space looks relatively open at the moment, we're going to be filling it up with a lot of different features. So I cut the poles down so the feature had a maximum height of about 3.5 feet tall and spaced the poles out about 2 feet apart. This effectively made the feature slightly less aggressive, but we can still accomplish a punchy and steep descent by making the legs on the second half of this feature a little bit shorter. Once we got the framing done for the rest of the approach, we can go ahead and start adding planks to this and make it actually start to look like a feature. And at this point, we should probably figure out how the heck to get off of this thing. I didn't have much planned for this build when we got started on it. I just knew that I wanted to have something where I can practice a steep and punchy descent. We don't have a lot of terrain like this around us, so every time we travel to a trail that has a steep rock roll, I'm usually caught off guard by it. Speaking of being caught off guard,
are you mad?
Why? No? What are you mad?
I don't know, because it's pretty big.
So it looks cool.
Say it again.
It looks cool.
Yes!
At this point, all we had left to do was to finish the framing and adding a few more planks for the rollaway. I added a few extra screws in all the planks in this section, because I would imagine that these planks will take a bit more abuse than the rest of them. After that, we cut down the excess planks to make it look a little bit more visually appealing. As it sits right now, this is currently the biggest feature we've built in our yard so far. It's just under 4 feet tall and a couple feet wide, and based on how it looks, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And just as I suspected, it is a lot of fun. It's just tall enough so you can jump up and nose your front tire straight into it, and steep enough to where that's still a little bit scary. You do have to watch your chainring if you're just rolling this, because it might catch you off guard. And now with the completion of this new feature, we have something else to get hurt on in our yard. There's quite a few different things that we can play around on here now, and in the upcoming weeks we're going to keep adding to this. We'll try and tie in these teeter-totters so they're more permanent, and add on to the line that we got started on in this video. So if you want to follow along with whatever else we decide to build in our backyard, make sure that you're subscribed and our future videos will show up in your feed.